Inside a golden reliquary in Armenia rests a diamond-shaped piece of iron. Historically, it is a standard Roman weapon. Theologically, it is the Holy Lance of Longinus, the blade that pierced the side of Christ on the cross. In the Armenian tradition, this legendary relic is known by a specific name, Geghard. To trace the origins of that title, we look at the classical written base sign of the language. In ancient stone inscriptions, the spelling of the artifact reveals a distinct structure. The Old Armenian spelling is Geghardn. Notice the end of the word. It terminates with an alveolar nasal consonant, the letter N. Over centuries of spoken use, contemporary speakers gradually dropped that final N, the word compressed. Geghardn became the modern spoken word, Geghard. Mainstream linguists categorize this as standard morphological decay. It is the natural erosion of speech. Humans optimize for efficiency, and hard consonant endings often fall away over hundreds of years. There is, however, an alternative framework for analyzing this linguistic void. The Promethean Codex is a rigorous, esoteric system that treats missing letters as deliberate structural ciphers, rather than accidents of history. Classical linguistics searches for phonetic roots to explain how a word deteriorates. The Codex maps the architectural geometry of sounds to identify what those missing spaces actually hold. Our inquiry centers on whether historical phonetic loss simply erodes a word, or if that loss folds the word into a deeper layer of cryptographic mythology. The classical term Gel-ardn splits into two roots. The prefix gel indicates a physical spearhead. The root arnd translates to lance. Over time, for ease of speech, that terminal N fades out, collapsing into the modern pronunciation, Geghard. For the mainstream scholar, the investigation concludes here. The semantic meaning of spear survives despite the phonetic friction. Classical linguistics treats language as a utilitarian tool. Words are labels that degrade over time, but stopping the analysis there ignores the symbolic potential of the missing space. The Promethean Codex operates on a different primary axiom. In this system, mythological names are structural collisions, not simple descriptors. The Armenian grammatical concept of ardnel is the act of juxtaposing, forcing two separate things to sit side by side. We apply ardnel to the first half of our tree, geg. In the Codex, this sound equates to the root sek. Sek connects to the Sacropia tree. Its large, pointed, palmate leaves serve as a biological symbol for the branching, bifurcating nature of material reality. Next, juxtaposition applies to hard, an echo of art, meaning now. Beneath it goes the hidden root ardn, the lance. Stacking present tense onto the weapon, the Codex synthesizes these elements simultaneously. Geghard literally forces a material shaft against the temporal now of a strike. This matches the mythological narrative of the relic. The lance dividing the physical body of Christ is the overlap of a material point entering a specific temporal event. Under this framework, a word operates like a forensic crime scene. An action of division and timing is compressed into two syllables. If the word is an engineered collision, we must account for the linguistic void. What is the actual function of the missing N? This visualization represents harmonic cryptography, the Codex's model for proving that words operate on strict frequencies. The ninth sphere is the outermost boundary of the heavens. It is invisible and remains entirely unmoved, yet its tension dictates the kinetic motion of all the planetary spheres below it. The silent N in Geghard is the word's primum mobile. It is the unseen, unspeakable point of the sphere. It makes no sound, but it carries the word's entire spiritual gravity. The Codex redefines how language exerts power. A word's greatest impact does not originate from what is yelled out loud. It comes from the structural voids we feel but never articulate. Any rigorous analytical framework must be reproducible across different datasets. To prove the Codex is a systematic architecture, we must test it against another historical variable. We apply the same rules to the name of the Armenian clergyman, Karekin. Starting with the foundational rule of Arnel, we split the morphology of Karekin. The left side, kar, is the Armenian root for stone, signifying eternal permanence. The right side, kin, means woman, carrying the phonetic shadow of ekin, the concept of arrival. We synthesize the collision. Karekin translates to stone from woman. It is the paradox of the eternal element suddenly entering the temporal timeline. We test this against the tuning fork model. There is a distinct phonetic difference. In the name Karekin, the final N is fully audible when spoken. While Geghard hides its N as an invisible wound, Karekin is the revealed ninth. The divine, unspeakable anchor is boldly spoken into material reality. The framework holds. Looking at these two models side by side reveals the true tension of the inquiry. The classical baseline argues that morphological decay is the mechanical friction of human speech. Letters drop because mouths get lazy over time. The esoteric framework argues that phonetic loss is a deliberate architectural feature designed to create a silent numerical anchor. These views are not mutually exclusive. They operate on different dimensional planes of the same data. The mechanical degradation of a language over centuries is exactly what hollows out the necessary space for those deeper mythological resonances to take hold. Literal translation provides the surface definition. True fluency requires the discipline to measure the exact shape of the silences letters leave behind.